was hard. That was hard. You know, every time they're taking the ball out, one of their guys, you know, Jeff and them, you're talking to you and you're trying to, you know, keep your focus, you know. And it's funny, I told my coaches I needed halftime far more than the players. And I think they sensed that. I will say that. You can see at halftime CP he was like, we got it. He kept saying that. So I think they sensed that a little bit from me, and that was nice.
Simple.
Did you talk to Doc at all?
Yeah, I said hello. Yeah.
Okay, so the Celtics lost tonight, 96-88. Let's actually go into the highlights for this one. Doc Rivers, welcome back to Boston. Huge ovation for him when the teams are introduced. And there's the tear. We're going to see a lot of tears tonight on the Garden Report, as you've already seen in the first video. But here's something that we're getting used to. Steez with the nice pass. Jay Cross, nice crossover, dumps it down to Brandon Bass for the slam. And the Celtics get on the break. Steez throwing up the oop to Bradley. Sick dunk. One-handed, catching it in midair, throwing it down. Let's see that from the other angle. Boom. Getting the feet behind the booty there. That's a nice dunk for Avery Bradley. But then DeAndre Jordan going for the monster oop. But that didn't quite work out. Look at where the ball ends up. In the corner there, trapped between the rim and the backboard. That was definitely one of the really cool instances that I've seen of that happening in the league. Then a sick pass to Blake Griffin. He gets that one through the net. 21-20 Celtics in the first quarter. Celtics with a 6-point lead in the early second. Courtney Lee, who would foul out of this game in 15 minutes. Nice feed on the save to Gerald Wallace, but then Jeff Green throws it down. That dude's pumped up wearing a North Face like every other person in Boston. Okay, later in the game, second half, kicks it off with a oop to DeAndre Jordan. He finishes that one. Blake Griffin, ball stolen from him by Brandon Bass. Nice slip pass there to Crawford, who finds Avery Bradley in the corner. That three gave the Celtics back the lead in the middle of the third quarter, and it was a beautiful shot. That got the creepy green face guys going. And then Steez going in with the left hand to make it a game. After the Celtics relinquished their lead for most of that fourth quarter there, they almost came back because Jared Sullinger, with just under 3 minutes remaining, late in the shot clock, nice layup to make it a 2-point game. And then Jamal Crawford comes out, boom, 30 feet out, nails the shot, and that was it. Celtics never could close it. Crawford hit another huge three on the next play. He's excited, and the Clippers win this one. All right, Boom went to dynamite tonight. Jamal Crawford, huge at the end.
Your turn.
Yeah. There we go.
Sorry,
so Jamal Crawford was huge at the end.
We're doing that?
Chris Paul, huge at the beginning, huge at the end. That's what Chris Paul tends to do.
Huge. Tends to do huge things.
The Celtics were outplaying the Clippers in most of this game.
For half of this game, yes.
Yeah, half. I would say half. Third quarter, they were outplayed.
Third quarter, they had no offense. They just kind of ran into people and lost the ball.
They lost the lead in the third quarter.
They were outscored 27-19.
So Jeff Green went 10 for 23 tonight. It was a very Carmelo Anthony night for him. He put up a lot of shots. He took 7 threes, which is good. I mean, he doesn't take many threes.
3 out of 7 is fine.
He's like a 40% three-point shooter. He only takes like 2 or 3.
Which is what 3 out of 7 is.
Yeah, exactly.
So there you go.
So it wasn't a bad night for the Celtics. This was one of those losses where they played a good team pretty decently. Neither team was really good tonight, but it was a close game. This is I think a good sign for the Celtics that. I mean, they're leading the division. That's BS. They're sub 500. They're good enough to lead a terrible division. But they had a huge win against New York. They had a close but tough loss to Brooklyn, who definitely was playing pretty well that night. Yeah. And then they come and they face one of the best teams in the league, and they hold their own with them.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to a couple of guys out back, a couple of reporters, and I mean,
some random guys. Yeah.
We agreed that this was just a Danny Ainge special. This is exactly what Danny Ainge wants every game to be like.
Mm-hmm. Play really hard and
play
then lose.
Well. Yeah. Make a little comeback. Keep it close and then lose in the end. I mean, that's what happened in the Nets. We just talked about it, and that's what happened tonight with the Clippers. I mean, it's an entertaining.
It's not the star point guards.
It's an entertaining. No, it's an entertaining game. It's competitive, and then the Celtics lose, and everyone goes home and watches highlights of the NCAA. So.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Because you can pick, so hopefully the Celtics have one of those guys.
Oh, I didn't know. Oh, is
Get
that
it?
true? Okay,
Yeah.
no, I didn't
Let's do
understand
Joel
that.
Embiid watch next week.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid. Oh, gosh.
He's a hot player now, yeah.
But yeah, I
it's right
mean, real quick, the Celtics came out strong tonight, or strong enough, which is what they've been doing a lot lately. They didn't do so against the Nets, but unlike the game against, let's say, the Cavs or whatever, they kind of took the foot off the gas in the second quarter. Not that they were up by that much. Third quarter, not they were up much to begin with, but I mean, you can't do that against the Clippers. I mean, they're obviously a high-powered offense, and when that happened, when the Clippers retook the lead, Celtics sort of fought back a little bit, but then the Clippers sort of just went ahead, and that was it.
Evans. Nope, so you're going to say, and then I'll go with mine.
Well, I was just going to say the team that showed up in the first half for the Clippers was like not the reformed new age, new Doc Rivers Clippers. It was more the Del Negro Clippers. The guys who were just going a million miles an hour and throwing weird passes,
Jamal
running all over the
Crawford
place.
Clippers.
And that's funny you say that real quick, because Doc said he thought he was useless for the first 18 minutes of the game.
And you know what? It showed because they
So
were
that's
turning the
Vinny
ball
Del
over.
Negro.
And the reason the Celtics ran up whatever it was, 45 points, it was that they were getting a lot of points in transition.
Yeah.
They were just getting a lot of garbage points off of Clippers' mistakes.
Yeah.
And it was more of a concerted effort in the second half for the Clippers to play like a team and play well, and it showed.
The funny thing is Chris Paul almost had a triple-double.
I did not
That's
notice
how it works
that,
out,
but
22,
yeah,
9,
That's how his
7.
season's been.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like
that's kind of what he does. A nice little 22-9-7 game. That's
Yeah. And he was getting some pretty open shots at some points in the game, like off picks and screens, and they weren't fighting through
offensive rebounds.
Yeah, they weren't
Just,
fighting through in the
putting
way
them
that I thought that maybe they could have on some of them.
But he also had some brilliant floaters in traffic, too, drawing fouls. I think it was in the second quarter, he had one where he just blitzed everybody on the break.
Yeah. He got a couple of those.
Yeah, he's Chris Paul. He's pretty good.
But even though Chris Paul did what Chris Paul does, Jamal Crawford did what Jamal Crawford does tonight. And
that was a factor.
That was the game. I mean, that
Yeah.
really was the game. Was it a 2-point game?
It was a 2-point game, and then he
he
hit a 30-footer and then another one on the transition.
And it's the second one that I have a huge problem with, because, listen, I always give Jordan Crawford credit. I've been doing it for a lot of these shows because he's been playing out of his mind. But on that second three-pointer by Jamal Crawford, Jordan Crawford's right over here arguing with the referee on the way back, and he's not in the play, and there's Jamal Crawford. So many Crawfords going through my mind right now.
It was in that
There's
corner right there, yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the shot happened over here, right?
Yeah, it was right,
Jamal
it's right there.
Crawford.
Okay.
Jamal Crawford shot right over here to the back of my right shoulder, and I don't know. Jordan Crawford's literally on this side of the court, and he's nowhere to be found where he needs to be.
This is
and
true.
That's
This
the
happened.
game right there. That's 5-point game to an 8-point game. And listen, Jordan Crawford, I love what he's been doing this year, but you got to get back into play. Like, you can't argue with that's not going to do anything for you.
And the thing was,
You're not that good yet. You're not going to get that call, by the way.
the thing is, Jeff Green picked up the defense there. He had, I think it was Dudley in the corner, and then Crawford ends up on the elbow. The ball went to Dudley in the corner. Green kind of lazily turns toward him, and then Dudley slips it back to Crawford on the elbow. Green is like his back to Crawford at this point. He's barely even turning around to contest the shot. The kind of defensive effort fell apart at the end
it was a
for the
lapse
Celtics.
there.
I tell people all the time, people don't get Boston. They really don't. They don't understand. And I think you have to be part of it to get it. I really do. I don't think you can get it from the outside. It's a special, different place, and people are born here and raised here, and they cheer for their teams, and they love their athletes, and it's just a great place to be. The best decision I ever made was, 10 years ago. When I decided to come. I mean, that was the best decision I've ever made.